wants to be a real estate agent? Number 1. The legal relationship between a broker and a seller is generally A. Special agency. B. General agency. C. Ostensible agency. D. Universal agency. The answer is A. Special agency. Number 2. A seller cannot be present for the closing. Instead, her parent will sign for her, having been given A. Power of attorney. B. Assistance of general counsel. C. General counsel authority. D. Universal authority. The answer is A. Power of attorney. Number 3. The statement "a broker must be employed to recover a commission for his or her services" means A. The broker must work in a real estate office. B. Someone must have agreed to pay a commission to the broker for selling the property. C. The broker must have asked the seller the price of the property and then found a ready, willing, and able buyer. D. The broker must have a salesperson employed in the office. The answer is B. Someone must have agreed to pay a commission to the broker for selling the property. Number 4. The procuring cost of a sale is A. Always the person who first shows the property. B. Always the licensee who draws up the contract. C. Sometimes hard to determine. D. Whomever the buyer wants to receive the commission. The answer is C. Sometimes hard to determine. Number 5. A listing may be terminated when either broker or principal A. Gets married. B. Goes bankrupt. C. Overfinances other property. D. Becomes 21 years of age. The answer is B. Goes bankrupt. Number 6. When retained by the seller, the broker owes a prospective buyer A. Obedience to lawful instructions. B. Confidentiality about the buyer's financial situation. C. Honest treatment. D. First loyalty. The answer is C. Honest treatment. Number 7. The salesperson who sincerely tries to represent both buyer and seller is practicing A. Fraud. B. Buffing. C. Dual agency. D. General agency. The answer is C. Dual agency. Number 8. A seller who wishes to cancel a listing agreement in New Jersey A. Must cite a legally acceptable reason. B. May not cancel without the agent's consent. C. May be held liable for money and time expended by the broker. D. May not sell the property for 6 months after. The answer is C. May be held liable for money and time expended by the broker. Number 9. In New Jersey, the buyer of residential property is entitled to find out about the presence of a convicted sex offender in the neighborhood A. In the listing information for the property. B. At the time the contract is signed. C. After the sale of the property has closed. D. Only if he or she can demonstrate a material need to know. The answer is C. After the sale of the property has closed. Number 10. What are buyers who ask to see the owner's comprehensive loss underwriting exchange looking for? A. Nearby hazardous waste dumping sites. B. Presence of a convicted sex offender. C. Possible suicide in the home. D. Insurance claims for the past 5 years. The answer is D. Insurance claims for the past 5 years. Number 11. An example of a latent defect is A. Large crack in the dining room ceiling. B. Roof with warped shingles. C. Used car lot next door. D. Malfunctioning septic system. The answer is D. Malfunctioning septic system. Number 12. An independent contractor may be paid A. A regular draw against earnings. B. Reimbursed car expenses. C. Commissions on sales. D. 2-week vacations each year. The answer is C. Commissions on sales. Number 13. Commissions are usually earned when A. The buyer makes a purchase offer. B. The seller accepts the buyer's offer without conditions. C. A new mortgage has been promised by the lender. D. Title to the property transfers. The answer is B. The seller accepts the buyer's offer without conditions. Number 14. Even if a proposed transaction does not go through, the broker sometimes may collect a commission where the A. Buyer turned out to be financially unable. B. Seller refused to do repairs required by the lender. C. Seller simply backed out. D. Lender did not appraise the house for the sales price. The answer is C. Seller simply backed out. Number 15. A salesperson's commission on a real estate transaction is A. Paid within 10 days after the broker is paid for the transaction. B. Paid at the rate set by the Real Estate New Jersey Commission. C. Always paid in cash. D. Generally determined by custom by the broker with no input from the salesperson. The answer is A. Paid within 10 days after the broker is paid for the transaction. Number 16. To be entitled to collect a commission on a real estate transaction, an agent must A. Be the procuring cost of the transaction. B. Charge no more than the local going rate of commission. C. Work a minimum number of hours. D. Sign the sales contract as a witness. The answer is A. Be the procuring cost of the transaction. Number 17. The seller lists his house with a broker offering a bonus commission of $500 to the agent who brings a good buyer before Thanksgiving. An agent with a cooperating firm effects the sale on November 1. The buyer agent may collect that bonus from A. The seller. B. The listing broker. C. The selling broker. D. No one. The answer is C. The selling broker. Number 18. Commissions rates are set by A. State law. B. Local custom. C. The broker. D. Agreement between seller and broker. The answer is D. Agreement between seller and broker. Number 19. At a booth in a neighborhood coffee shop, a broker is seated with her friendly rival. Her rival says, "Did you hear about that firm that's charging a flat fee for selling property? Do you think they will make it?" The broker's proper response is A. Explain to her rival that flat fees are allowed by law, just as commissions are. B. Assure her rival that she will not be changing her commission rate. C. Caution the rival about the dangers of discussing competing firms. D. Point out to the rival that it is a violation of federal antitrust law for competing brokers to discuss any aspect of commission rates. The answer is D. Point out to the rival that it is a violation of federal antitrust law for competing brokers to discuss any aspect of commission rates. Number 20. The transaction broker represents A. The seller, B. The buyer, C. The lending institution, D. No one. The answer is D. No one. Number 21. A consumer information statement, CIS, is required for transactions involving A. Commercial property and vacant land, B. 1 to 4 family dwellings, C. Farms and subdivisions, D. All real estate. The answer is B. 1 to 4 family dwellings. Number 22. A dual agent cannot provide advice on A. Available financing, B. The right price to accept, C. Utility costs, D. Hidden defects. The answer is B. The right price to accept. Number 23. The seller may remain quiet for A. Sagging floor joists, B. Seasonal flooding, C. The previous owner's suicide, D. Inadequate septic tank. The answer is C. The previous owner's suicide. Number 24. The duty of loyalty forbids the seller's broker to A. Mention the condition of the house in ads, B. Place a sign on the property, C. Suggest an offer under the listed price, D. Give information over the telephone. The answer is C. Suggest an offer under the listed price. Number 25. When the buyer gives a seller's broker information about possible financial problems in completing the purchase, the broker should A. Respect the confidence and let it go no further, B. Inform the seller immediately, C. Offer to lend the buyer extra funds needed, D. Ask for a written confirmation on the situation. The answer is B. Inform the seller immediately. Number 26. If the agent in the previous question is acting as a buyer's broker, the most correct response for the broker is to A. Say nothing to the seller because of the duty of confidentiality to the principal, B. Explain to the buyer that not revealing the problem to the seller may constitute concealment of material defect, C. Tell the seller at the same time asking the seller not to reveal to the buyer that confidentiality was breached, D. Try to find another buyer for the property. The answer is B. explain to the buyer that not revealing the problem to the seller may constitute concealment of material defect. Number 27. Negligent misrepresentation occurs when A. The speaker knows the statement is false. B. The speaker should know the statement is false. C. The speaker is not expected to have knowledge in the matter under discussion. D. No harm is done by the falsehood. The answer is B. The speaker should know the statement is false. Number 28. The term realtor applies only to A. Any licensed broker. B. Any broker or salesperson. C. Members of a private organization. D. Graduates of the Realtor Institute. The answer is C. Members of a private organization. Number 29. New Jersey's Consumer Fraud Act A. Does not apply to real estate. B. Holds licensees liable for any misrepresentation. C. Allows exception from liability in some circumstances. D. Doesn't cover omission of material facts. The answer is C. Allows exception from liability in some circumstances.